Lots of people are innocent before God. Infants are innocent. They haven't done anything. Look, they're condemned in Adam. Did they do it? No? Well, then they're innocent. If you didn't do it, right? If you didn't do it, and if you didn't do it by choice, then you didn't do it and you're innocent. And to suggest that everybody's condemned in Adam, and and all that kind of stuff, that's their misinterpretation, and they do it on purpose. They want to portray God as somebody, who sheds innocent blood. That's really what they want to do. You know how like they portray God as somebody like in a blind rage, where he doesn't see any legal distinctions, he doesn't see any mitigating circumstances or extenuating circumstances. He doesn't see any difference between anybody. He's like a person in a blind rage. Death to everyone! Everyone deserves death! Then the idea is, because he's so loving to everybody who wants to kill, he then decides to punish a completely innocent guy and pretend it's everybody else. That's psychotic. That's actually completely psychotic. That's why conservative law never enters your mind when somebody's talking about that. Oh yeah, that's the epitome of conservative law. Everybody's gonna die. What about infants? They're condemned in Adam, and therefore they deserve to die. I mean, I go like this. It's actually impossible for your God to be any more severe. It's like he wants to punish infants as though they're Hitler. There's no difference. Sin is sin. All sin's the same. You're born in sin, he's going to cook you. That's crazy. And they'll say, the consequences of sin is eternal separation from God. What kind of sin? All sins? Yeah, just being born. But then they'll pretend Christ suffered the penalty for sins, but yet he wasn't eternally separated from God. Then they get into another liberal rationalization. Well, because his suffering was infinite, it's equal to the suffering that a person would have over infinity of being separated from God. Yeah, that's not a liberal psychotic rationalization. That's the epitome of conservative law. No, that's not a rationalization. Making a rationalization like that, for some reason, it seems to me like a doobie belongs in your hand while you're doing it. Yep. Eternal separation from God, the equivalent is infinite suffering within the span of 3 hours. Yep. They can't actually explain this so-called infinite wrath. What is it? They can't explain it. It's crazy. It's like a magic thing. You know what I mean? He puts the wrath on one individual who's innocent for every crime committed by absolutely everybody, and even just being born, on this one individual. And go explain to me how it's done. Well, it's just done. And they'll use some stupid thing. Oh, he just imputed the sins there. What the hell does that mean? They can't explain what the hell they say they believe. They can't explain it. What is it? Flaming divine protoplasm? Some kind of fire that nobody can see, but somehow it's aimed at the soul? Immaterial fire? What is it? Is it being really angry? And I'm really angry at you for this. You see how he can't do that without bearing false witness. If you see, Christ didn't do none of those things, so he can't go, man, I'm really angry at you for doing that. Excuse me, I didn't do that. And how could Christ suffer as though he were a wrongdoer? You see, wouldn't you say that he would be like a martyr? One who is suffering and being treated unjustly. You see, Christ couldn't suffer the pangs of a wrongdoer. So what are they hunting for? For God to see the suffering and pangs of a wrongdoer? That's impossible for him to suffer pangs as though he were a wrongdoer. And that's where you get into pretentious role-playing, being pretentious. If one is not a wrongdoer, how can one have the suffering of a wrongdoer? How? They cannot explain this so-called wrath that they say God poured out on his son. They can't explain it. It's like it reminds me of some kind of an English comedy or something. Hey, go ahead and explain how he put this wrath on him and what it is. Well, he just put it on him and there it was. What? No, that ain't good enough. Sorry. Well, he just kind of put their sins on him. What the hell does that mean? How do you put somebody's sin on him? I'm going to pick up bank robbery here. Oh, it's really heavy, too. Apparently they stole a lot of gold. I just put it on him. Whoa! Somebody just put £1 million of gold on me. What the hell does that mean? Well, he just kind of, he imputed them. There they are. Imputed? What does that mean? Well, they were over here, and he took them in. What do you mean they were over here? I wasn't born yet back then. So how can he take my sin, which didn't exist, and put it on him? You see how they portray it? It's like picking up something on this table and carrying it over and putting it on that table. Well, it didn't happen yet, therefore it ain't there. Now, so what is this impute? Well, he, put it to his account. What the hell does that mean? An accounting analogy? Yeah, you see, you were $559 billion indebted to justice or something. And he kind of, he took this account and took the minus $500 billion and transferred it from your account and put it to his. There you go. It's on him. Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So what is it? Wrath? You see how he couldn't say anything? But even if he didn't say anything, it would be bearing false witness by way of disposition. Somebody who didn't do anything wrong, and you go up to him and you're going, oh, man. What cause do you have to be growling at me, O great one? Well, I don't really have any. It's bearing false witness by way of disposition. So which is it? Is it this grunting? Is it like Godzilla? Flames throwing out? What is it? They can't explain it. Well, he just kind of put wrath on him. What does that mean? Well, then what are they going to do then? Wrath is the execution of God's justice. Well, okay, fine. How did he do it? Well, he just kind of imputed. You go into circular reasoning. Well, he just kind of, he kind of took our punishment. Well, okay, fine. What was the punishment? There was spiritual death. That's it. Substitutionary spiritual death. And I go, excuse me, what's that then? Well, there was a separation between the God and the Father, and, he separated from him as though he had sinned when he didn't. Isn't that called bearing false witness? Well, no, he knows he didn't do anything wrong, but he separates from him as though he did. But he really didn't. But then he treats him as though he did, but he knows he didn't, and they both know they didn't. And so they're going through a pretentious, phony stage play. There's nothing phonier than going like this. All the sins that occurred before the cross, God decided not to get pissed off. No, I'm not going to get angry. Nope. I'm saving it. What are you saving it for, Lord? When the incarnation happens and my son strikes tent in human flesh and then they put him up on the cross, that's when I'm going to let it all out. But I'm not angry yet. I'm just saving it all. Now, isn't that pretentious? I'm not going to get pissed off yet. Okay, then they put Christ on trial, right? And what's funny is they don't even charge him with sin. They condemn him for claiming to be the Son of God. And so they don't even put him to death for being a sinner. But they nail him up on a cross, and then God goes, okay, this is the moment I've been waiting for. Now I'm going to be pissed. Oh, the bank robberies. Oh, take that. Oh, and this, and take that. I'm so angry. It's phony, pretentious. That's what they portray God as, a psychopath.